Good afternoon, and welcome to another ironic introduction to another video. Today I want to go over the update for the Little Class Trip rewards as well as the post itself. As always, if you would rather read the post than listen to me describe it, you can click the link in the description below, as well as I will include a timestamp skipping to after I've read through the post. But for those of you who are only listening to this video, let me read through the post for you very quickly, just so that you have an idea of what is going on. So, Summoners, it's time to take a little trip with your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's heading away with some of his classmates on a well-deserved vacation. Unfortunately for Spider-Man, his chaperone has other things planned for him. Nick Fury has requested that our Summoners join in on the new event, Spider-Man Class Trip. This limited time quest will have 4 chapters with a new chapter opening every Wednesday. To choose your difficulty, you'll need to gather shield markers throughout the battle realm and trade them in for tiered permission slips. The quest. Starting July 3rd, 10 a.m. PDT, Spider-Man Class Trips will become available. This quest has 4 chapters and will begin with the first chapter unlocked. The next chapter will be unlocked every Wednesday until the event ends on August 7th, 10 a.m. PDT. To enter each chapter, you'll need to spend a permission slip. These can be purchased in the souvenir store. Each difficulty requires a different tier of permission slip. Here's a breakdown of their cost. 150 shield markers for beginner, 250 for normal, 500 for heroic, 750 for master, and 1000 for epic. I will comment that there are story gates for where you are able to buy permission slips. For example, you cannot complete epic unless you are uncollected. I have thoughts on that later. Each quest has 3 paths. On some difficulties, there will be paths with a champion gate. These gates can only be unlocked if you have that specific champion on your team. That champion can be of any rarity and must be on your team in the quest in order to unlock the gate. You'll need a variety of champions from the Spider-Verse to explore the entirety of these quests. So in order to run these, if you are only running normal or below, well, beginner has no gates, but if you're running normal, you need Spider-Man Classic, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man Symbiote, and Spider-Man Stark Enhanced. But if you are running heroic or higher, you will also need Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Venom, and Vulture. So you only need 8 champions here, and they do state that if you don't have one of these champions, don't worry. On the final week of the event, we'll be launching new special objectives that reward you with a 2-star version of the champion for defeating them 50 times in arenas, quests, or duels. So we'll have to figure out as a community best ways to handle that. You'll also earn homesick crystals and special objectives that start on July 3rd. These crystals guarantee at least a 2-star with a rare chance at a 3 or 4-star Agent Venom Carnage, Dr. Octopus, Electro, Green Goblin, Iron Patriot, Rhino, that's a meme, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man Classic, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man Stark Enhanced, Spider-Man Symbiote, Symbiote Supreme, Venom, Venom the Duck, Venom Poor, or Vulture, 4-star Rhino not included. In order to get the shield markers to run the event, you can get them by completing special objectives with Spider-Verse heroes, Sinister Six, or Symbiote champions. You get them from a special login calendar as well as from completing the events themselves. You can then take these markers and head over to the souvenir store in order to trade them in for permission slips, special profile pics, or other items in the souvenir store that they'll be adding at a later date. If you have spare shield markers in the last week of the event, they'll be adding a selection of items for you to spend your markers on. These items are not as good as the rewards that you can earn in the class trip quests. So if you can do the quests, they recommend you do those first. You can get everything from lesser boosts, tier 1 to tier 4 class catalysts, fragments to crystals, tier 1 to tier 4 basics, catalysts or crystals, depending on how catalyst fragments or crystals. And tier 1 alphas and crystal shards for the 3 and 4 stars as well. I realized I made some verbiage mistake there. I apologize. Continuing on, for the completion and exploration of these difficulties, just kind of gotta sum up the highlights here. For beginner, you get 4 1/4 premium hero crystals, some basic and catalysts, but nothing's too special here. But I do want to comment that including the homesick crystals, it's essentially 6 1/4 premium hero crystals. That's not too bad for a beginner. For normal, you get 3.175 3-star crystals, 1 premium hero crystal, as well as 2.4 homesick crystals. So again, this is more like 3 premium hero crystals and 3 3-star crystals. Again, not bad for a new player. For heroic, you will get 2 4-star crystals as well as a chunk of tier 4 class catalyst fragment crystals. Not a lot, but it's something. And then half of a tier 4 basic. You will also receive 1 ultimate homesick crystal, as well as 2.6 homesick crystals. So this is essentially 2 4-stars, a 3-star, and 2 2-stars, just based on, you know, your luck. You could get luckier than that, but that's what most players will see. For Master, you get half of a 5-star crystal, 4 tier 1 alpha catalysts. Oh, I should comment, for Heroic, you do also get 3 tier 1 alpha catalysts, so that is nice to see in the Heroic difficulty. But again, for Master, you get 5,200 5-star crystal shards, 4 tier 1 alpha catalysts. You get a chunk of tier 2 alpha, which is nice to see in Master. You get 1 full tier 4 basic catalyst, as well as 48 crystals for the tier 4 basic, tier 4 class catalyst fragment crystals. You also get 1 ultimate homesick crystal and 2.8 homesick regular crystals. Not that bad for a master difficulty reward, but definitely some room for improvement there. And then finally, for epic, you will get half of a 5-star crystal, 1,000 6-star shards, a chunk of tier 5 basics, almost a little over 2/3 of a tier 2 alpha catalyst fragment. That's really solid. 48 crystals for the tier 4 class catalyst fragments, 1 full tier 4 class catalyst, as well as a really sizable chunk of tier 4 basic catalyst fragments. I believe this totals to 2.5. I want to say 2.5, maybe 2.25. 1 legendary homesick crystal, as well as 3 homesick crystals. So that said, I will stick a timestamp here before I start going over my thoughts and comments. I am going to just scroll up to the top because I'll touch on the rewards last, so feel free to like skip ahead until you see the screen pop up again for those if you only care about those. But I want to comment on like the fact that these are going to be the permissions, like the event difficulty you can run, is going to be gated behind how far you are in the story. I know for a lot of players, for a lot of veterans, this won't matter, but I think this was really unnecessary, and I actually really hate it when creators or developers lock limited events behind a story progression. I understand when you do that with like other things in the story, like Realm of Legends or Road to the Labyrinth of Legends, and those stuff. If you want to unlock, you know, lock variant behind like must be summoner level 40, all of that seems reasonable. This is a limited time event, so if you have any players join, I doubt that they'll ever be able to reach epic difficulty. And I understand that like most players wouldn't be able to, but you know, Seaton has an example of him doing that within the first 30 days of playing, so it is feasibly possible. But more so, I want to comment on like this master difficulty, like getting Conqueror. You know, that does take a little bit of time, and Conqueror itself for a lot of new players is a frustration just because of what it entails as far as, you know, global nodes. And that means like my brother who's new to this game, who can definitely clear master difficulty content, is going to have to clear Act 4 first, and I just think that's bogus. I think that, you know, I think that having that static content lock is just not fair to people like him. And this uncollected version 1, there are a lot of players who haven't pushed uncollected because they don't want to drop 1,000 to 2,000 units on revives in order to beat the collector, because, you know, maybe they only have 4-star rank 440 champions. You know, and I did it with you know, I think Vision was my only 5-star at the time, and he was rank 3. And you know, and that's a whale deal, but I did it, and I dropped like 1,300 units, I think, in order to push uncollected, and I don't regret the amount of units I spent. But if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have access to this epic difficulty, and I've proven last month that you can at least get a completion run of epic difficulty with like an amateur style roster. So I'm sure that a lot of people who haven't pushed uncollected without, you know, because they don't want to spend those units, could easily clear this content with, you know, their rank 4s or their max rank 4s when they feel like they can't push uncollected without rank 5, without 5-star champions. So that said, I just think that this is really annoying, and I wanted to comment on that. Honestly, like out of everything in this entirety of this post, I think this is the thing that frustrates me the most, even though it doesn't affect me. I just think that this is something that people will be commenting on later on. And I might make a separate video just kind of talking about the frustrations of this if I feel like I need to rant some more, even though I've already ranted a lot. That said, I think these 8 champions are fairly reasonable. You know, a lot of them are champions that people will really want. I'm not sure if these are all available as 2 stars. So like the fact that they say 2-star version, if some of these aren't available as 2 stars, getting like a limited 2-star edition of these is something I would do personally, just because it's nice to have as a collector. I know a lot of people might say, oh, you know, these should be 3 stars, but I am under the impression that some of these are 2 stars that you cannot get. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I'm pretty sure, like, I don't think you can get a 2-star Venom. Maybe you can. I don't think you can get a 2-star Doc Ock. Maybe you can. If you can, I apologize for the misleading there, but that was the impression I have. If you can get all 8 of these champions just regularly as a 2-star, then I think that this should say 3-star instead. That would just make this generally overall better for newer players, and it would still be relatively unimpactful for veterans. But, you know, 50 times... As a YouTube community, I hope someone else in the YouTube community finds an easy way to do it besides duels. I'll make a video as far as like how to do this with duels, but I'm unsure how to do this with arena and quests, unless there's like a specific quest we can run. You know, hey, perhaps the beginner version of this has these champions in there, so maybe it's just a matter of clearing through beginner multiple times. We'll have to see when the event drops itself. I really wish this list of homestick crystals didn't include champions like Rhino at all. Like, we don't need to see Rhino in there. We don't need to see... okay, everybody else I think is relatively fair. Like, maybe we didn't need to see Iron Patriot. But other than that, I think the rest of them are fairly fair, just as far as canon goes. As far as shield markers, I do want to comment on like the quantity of shield markers, right? So they said there's going to be 3 paths. So if there are 3 paths, and let's say you are pushing to clear Epic, right? So you've already done a full completion of Master difficulty, and you're pushing to clear Epic. When you do get a completion of Master difficulty, you do get 2,500 shield markers, so you will be able to push into Epic, and then for completing Epic, you'll get 3,500 shield markers. So the way they have this set up, you get a little less than the next one above, but based on that, I'm under the impression that if you run, like, let's say Heroic Master Epic, that you will have additional shield markers. So, like, when you look at the rewards, you will also have the additional benefit of buying out, like, some Tier 4 basic Catalyst fragments. So there's a limit of 10 here, so at 7,200, you know, that's going to be almost 5 Tier 4 basics, I believe. Nope, I'm just bad at math. That's going to be almost 2.5 Tier 4 basics. You'll be able to buy 5 Tier 1 alphas potentially. I'm going to prioritize the Tier 4 class catalyst fragment crystals. Again, even though it's only a limit of 10, that's still 10 that I would like to see. And for a lot of players, this will give them access to, you know, boosts as far as HP, attack, and champion boosts that they might not have had access to elsewise. So continuing on, probably the part that people care the most about are the rewards. When I look at these rewards, I'm under the impression that these are the additional, right, like the rifts. So all of my opinions here are based on the fact that this is in addition to a standard, like, event quest. You know, like, we had the rifts right now, and those were the additional, and then you had the event rewards. So if that is the situation, these are my thoughts and opinions. But if I am wrong, and like, let's say hypothetically this event is only the clash trips, I have a completely different opinion. Like, if this event is only clash trips, there's no standard event that you can clear as far as like a questing thing, then I'm going to say these rewards are absolutely trash. But I'm still a new player, so I apologize that I'm not like positive one way or the other, but under the impression that these are the additional, I'm actually going to say these rewards are pretty good. Now keep in mind, I don't have anything previously to compare them to, but this is the cost of a guarantee. Also, like, I think that a lot of people really fixate and hone in on these shards, right? Like 5-star shards, 5-star shards, 6-star shards, and it's really easy to get lost in that. But I think that there's a lot more here than just those, right? Like, in the Master difficulty, we're getting a Tier 4 basic catalyst, we're getting, you know, a sizable chunk of Tier 4 class catalyst fragment crystals, and like, this is all guaranteed. You're getting these 100%. And when you compare these to like the rifts we just did, like, these are strictly better than the rifts as far as an average goes. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of players who got like featured crystals or got 5-star crystals from their rifts, and good for you. But know that, like, I ran 5 rifts and I got 2,000 5-star shards and a handful of signature stones. So comparing this to that, like, this puts me way ahead. Just on 5-star shards alone, I'm way ahead. But then again, these rewards, like, this could just be the actual quest. And if this is the actual quest, then these are just worse than the current quest event already. Like, just in the current one here, I believe you get, like, a full 5-star crystal just from running the epic. So unfortunately, I'm on the boat of, we need more information, Kabam. I don't want to make too many judgments at the moment, just because I feel like we're missing a lot of information. Like, what is in the special objectives? What are the special objectives? I think we need to know, like, are we going to get a celebrity challenge? Like, I would be incredibly surprised if we don't get Tom Holland a celebrity challenge, just because, like, he did do a advertisement for Shadowbringers for Final Fantasy, so, like, he does have, like, some kind of influence as far as in the video game community, even if it's only in one advertisement so far. But it shows that he's aware of that culture and, you know, the benefit of being active there. So I would be surprised if we don't get that. I'd be surprised if we don't see some form of, like, additional rewards in the objectives. Like, right now they only say ultimate crystals, but I imagine, like, with the shield markers and stuff, that you should have some overflow. Unfortunately, I just think that, you know, I think this is too little to go on at the moment, right? Like, this is why I don't like to talk about events in advance. I think that this update is really good, and it's nice to get, like, an idea of what's going on. But as far as, like, passing judgment, I think that it's important to wait until after it launches, right? Because we can judge these rewards all we want, but if there is a celebrity challenge, or let's say the 98-day calendar has insane rewards throughout the entirety of the month, right? Like maybe you're getting a tier 4 basic every week, and you're getting class catalyst fragments every week. You know, then, you know, when you compare that and add that with this event, it looks really good. But if this is a standalone, you know, it doesn't look so great. So that said, I'm going to reserve my full judgment until the event launches, just because that's all I can do. That said, you know, hopefully we see good things from Kabam. You know, I'm always an optimist as far as this game goes. And at the end of the day, I think that this sounds like fun. And while for a lot of veteran players, these rewards might be subpar, for me, you know, these are actually really good. So I know that there's a lot of bias there as a new player, and I understand that that's not the whole community, you know, and so that doesn't change the fact that I think the rewards might need to be tuned up if these are standalone. But that said, you know, it's too early to pass judgment. We need to see what launches with the event, how difficult these quests are, whether or not there's more coming, whether or not, you know, there's other things. Kabam does officially state, you know, that the rewards and event details are subject to change before release, so we might see some changes based on how hard the community pushes back. But that said, this video has gone on longer than it needs to, and I will talk to you later.